Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Graphio12, also known as Shubham Mishra. I'm doing a series on the called the deep dive on the Python standard library. After the advice you people gave me on the first video, I made some improvements, and let's see how do you like those improvements or not. Tell me in the comments. In this final part about the collections module, I'll be talking about three important collections. Those are the chain map, the OrderedDict, and the name tuple. I haven't prepared slides for this because the content is fairly straightforward. Let's directly get into our Python REPL and let's get started. Alright, so let's get started with our first collection of today, and that has been named tuple. Tuple is a immutable data type, right? So you fill it up with some data, but then you cannot change it. Name tuple is similar, but in case instead of indexing with 0 1s like that, you'll be indexing with special keys. The name tuple is implemented as a factory function in the collections module. What that means is that name tuple would return a class, and that class can be instantiated to form the tuples with the specific keys that you require. What I mean by that, I will show you by the example of a code. Uh, so let's import name tuple first. Now I suppose I want to store 3D coordinates, right? So in if you want to use the normal tuple, what you will do, you will use a sub, say 1 comma 2 comma 3 like that, and you have to find out the meaning of these indices, like what do they mean. You have to sort of put a comment on that, like the first one is x, or first one is y, first one is z, second one is x or y, like that. But in the name tuple, these kind of ambiguities are not there. Let's see. uh, Say we want a point. uh, so I'll just say point equals named tuple, and since the factory function, we also need to pass in a point, uh, and you have to pass in a list of all the parameters that you require. So these are the three coordinates that I require. And now point is a class that we just defined using the name tuple. How do I instantiate a point object? Let's say I want to instantiate the origin, so I'll just do point and x equals 0, y equals 0, z equals 0, and this instantiates a new point object like so. And if you want, you can omit x, y's and z's, but then you have to keep the order that you have defined here. Okay, like if you want to define a point without mentioning the indices, like so, 1 comma 2 comma 3, and then x gets 1, y gets 2, and z gets 3. Intuitive, right? I guess so. And if you want to access these attributes, then you can do p dot x, p dot y, sorry, p dot y and p dot z to access the attributes. Also, you can use the numbers or indices like that. P0 will correspond to x because it has come first. P1 will correspond to y, and P2 will correspond to z. Now let's come to the second collection of today, and that will be chain map. Uh, First of all, let's say you have two dictionaries. Say A equals 1 and B equals 2. Uh, uh, I forgot to assign it to some variable. Let's call the variable d1, and I will assign the last value to it. By the way, that's a neat trick. Actually, I on purpose forgot to show you this trick. Basically, in the REPL, the last value that was received can be you can get that by using this underscore. Okay, so D1 holds these values. Now I have another dict called D2, which has B equals, I don't know, 5, C equals 9. That's it. So you have two dicts. Now you want to merge them, right? So there are some neat tricks like spread operators. I will cover that in a separate video. But what you basically need to do if you want to uh, use a pure dict like approach is that you instantiate empty dict like d3 equals blank dict, and then you kind of fill them in as you go, right? But Python collection modules actually provides a neat data structure to chain these dicts together, and that is precisely what ChainMap is. So let's show you an example. From collections we import ChainMap. Okay, so we'll instantiate the ChainMap, um, and we'll pass in d1 and d2 as the parameters. You can pass in any number of dicts as a parameter. So now A holds a chain map which has these two dictionaries held together. Now if I want to access the value of the parameter A, sorry for the naming, these two have become the same name. That's not a problem for us, right? So you will get 1, and this one comes from here. If I want to say access the value C, this gives 9, and this 9 comes from D2. Now what about B? B appears in both the dictionaries. So let's see what happens if I try to access B. You see we get 2. It's weird, right? So how did it get this one but not this one? This is because the order in which we specified the lookups. So it will look up in D1 first. If it is not in D1, it will then go to D2. If it is not D2, then it will go to some other place, right? So it was in D1, and hence it returned the value 2. And now if you want to update these values, say B, I want to make it to say some big number. And now let's see what happened to D1. D1 increased, but D2 remained the same. So this sort of shallow, like the first occurrence it finds, it updates there. But what if you want to update for all the dicts, right? For that you need to actually subclass chain map, and the recipe for doing that is given in the docs. Alright, so the next thing up on our plate is called the OrderedDict. Now, we all know what are dicts in Python, right? These are key to value mappings or hash tables, and as I have instructed you, please go through Raymond Hettinger's video on what are dicts internally, and that will give you a lot of insight. So, a problem with the dict is it does not maintain order. What I mean by that is, let's say I have a dict in which I have inserted A first, then I insert B first, and then I have a dict where I insert B first with the same value, and then A. Are these two dicts equal? Yeah, these two dicts are equal because they have the same key value pairs. Okay. Now you think about a scenario. You want to develop a queue, and in the queue has key value pairs, and if you employ a single dict like that, then A comes first or B comes first makes no difference to that, right? So you need to maintain a stability or an ordering in which your keys arrive, right? This is what the OrderedDict does. Let's get started using OrderedDicts in our code. So we'll first import that collection, import or ordered dict. Okay, so let's call it OD for ordered dict, like that, and we have instantiated it. Now it behaves in all sense as a dictionary, so you can assign values like that. A equals how much? 2. OD B equals 3, right? And now let's have another ordered dict, so we call it OD2 ordered dict, and insert values in reverse order there. B equals 3 and OD2 A equals 2, right? If it had been a dict, they had been equal. Now let's see if the ordered dicts are equal or not. No, they are not equal. And why is that so? Because ordered dict maintains the order in which these keys have appeared. So now let's say I insert few more keys in OD for demonstration purposes. Let's see, I insert 9 and D I insert 90. So OD becomes A, B, C, D. And now if I want to update A, watch how it happens. Let's say 76, and see, A did not go to the end of the ordered dict again. That's because A appeared first before. So the ordering is always by the first arrival of the key and not by the last arrival. Okay, so there are some special methods associated with an ordered dict. Since ordered dict has an ordering of the arrival of the keys, so you can expect it has some stack or queue like features, and hence we can push pop or NQ DQ. These operations can be done in an ordered dict, right? So how these are implemented, if you want to pop an element from the front of the ordered dict, then you do pop item and you set last equals false. That will pop A. And if you want to pop from the end, that is you want to exhibit a stack like or LIFO structure, then you do pop item just, and the default parameter, that is last equals true. And also now you see the OD has become little bit smaller, so let's actually repopulate it. 76 and D, let's say 6 just. So OD becomes this again 4. Now let's say you want to move this key D to the front of the ordered dict, and how do you do that efficiently? You say move to end. And what does end means? End does not mean left or right. You have to specify what is that. So if you specify last equals false, then it actually moves to the first. And by I have to specify the key also, and the key I want to move is suppose A. So you moved A to the front again like before, and suppose you wanted to move it to the end, then you just omit the last, because the default parameter that it accepts is last equals true. So now OD will move to the end. And where will ordered dicts come in handy? It will come in handy when handling server operations where you need to process the requests from a queue in order. This is where the order dicts come in handy, and there are many other operations like LRU caching and things like that, where order dicts are very useful. Thank you. And in the next video I will be talking about the RE module and how to write and understand regular expressions. So stay tuned, like, comment and subscribe on the to my channel. Let's see you on the next video next week. Thank you.